Continuing from the previous episode 805. But what? Xiao Yan suddenly became vigilant when he heard the words. It seemed that after the holy flame appeared on his body, the attitude of the life and death fire beast towards him had undergone earth-shaking changes. Although he was extremely puzzled, Xiao Yan laughed in his heart at this moment. Obviously, Xiao Yan still underestimated the power of Sheng Yan. The thing I guard is the fire of life and death, and I can take you down to get it. But as a price, you must use the power of holy flame to help me overcome the calamity, break through the 7-star Do Emperor, and enter the 8-star Do Emperor. The fire beast of life and death stared at Xiao Yan, and said with anticipation. However, rather than staring at Xiao Yan, it is better to stare at the khaki-colored holy flame on Xiao Yan's body, because if the life and death fire beast wants to break through the current *** and step into a higher realm, it will either continue to devour the flame, or use the flame's help. Strength. However, if it devoured the flames in the molten lava, I am afraid that there will not be 1,000 years. The life and death fire. Beasts want to successfully advance from the 7-star Do Emperor to the 8-star Do Emperor, which is tantamount to fantasy. The flames in this lava are extremely terrifying. If there is a more terrifying flame in this lava world, it is undoubtedly only holy flames, but holy flames are very few in the entire Great Thousand world. But now that he meets Xiao Yan who possesses the holy flame, the fire beast of life and death will definitely not miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The fire of life and death is precious. As long as the roots and stems are not damaged, it will take some time to grow naturally. But if you miss the holy flame, you really miss it. Using the power of holy flame to help you survive the calamity? Xiao Yan was shocked when he heard the words. Xiao Yan had never heard of any magical beast since ancient times, and could survive the calamity with the powerful power of holy flame. Sheng Yan is the strongest representative of the fire attribute between heaven and earth. I can feel that your strength is too weak now, and you haven't really mastered this holy flame. Otherwise, with the power of your holy flame, let alone me, even the vicious old monster, I'm afraid it won't cause you any harm. And you don't need to be surprised. Breaking through with the power of holy flame is our only chance for life and death fire. Beasts. Our life and death fire. Beasts have always lived in the land of lava, and the birth of life and death fire is even more difficult. The life and death fire. Beast said, give me the fire of life and death first, and I'll help you. Xiao Yan hesitated for a moment, worried about the conspiracy of the fire beast of life and death, and immediately said, You. The fire beast of life and death heard the words, and suddenly thought, if he gave him the fire of life and death first, I'm afraid this human being. Don't worry, this is your territory after all. And I also said that I came here for 2 purposes, one of them before the fire of life and death. You can wait until I help you overcome the calamity, and then take me to the spring of life and death. Xiao Yan said with a smile. Humph, boy, I didn't promise you to take you to the spring of life and death. I just promised you to give you the fire of life and death. As for the spring of life and death, that's none of my business. If you want to enter, I will naturally not stop you. But I advise you that the guys in the second Yaiquan of life and death are not only more terrifying than me, but also more greedy than me. You are carrying holy flames. I'm afraid it's hard to say whether you can come out completely when you go in. Fire beast of life and death snorted coldly. A voice. Then don't worry about it. Xiao Yan smiled. The reason why Xiao Yan entered the second Yaiquan of life and death must have been prepared. The strength of the vicious old monster in the late stage of the 8-star Do Emperor, coupled with the monsters that are comparable to the human 9-star Do Emperor level, if there is no preparation, Xiao Yan will not be able to do so. Dare to enter rashly. Let's lead the way. The voice just fell, and he smiled without hesitation. Follow me. After hesitating for a while, the fire beast of life and death realized that what Xiao Yan said had some truth, and immediately led the way. After all, this is his own territory. If Xiao Yan's words don't count, most of them will join forces with the vicious old monsters to bring him back. 6-star Doudi's perfect strength, although he has holy flames, can't exert much of the power of holy flames. Let's go. Seeing that the fire beast of life and death was not hesitating, Xiao Yan directly sunk his head into the terrifying lava without hesitation. He was enveloped in the power of holy flames, and with the isolation of soul power, he followed closely. Go! Are you sure you're here? Xiao Yan's pressure suddenly increased greatly when his body was submerged in the molten slurry. Obviously, the temperature and suppression here were much stronger than Xiao Yan imagined. Don't worry, since I have asked you, I will definitely not harm you. Faced with Xiao Yan's question, the fire beast did not shy away from it, and spoke directly. Bang bang bang. One person and one beast went towards the bottom of the melt. What is that? After a while, Xiao Yan suddenly saw a door of light in front of him. Within the door of light, there were many obscure auras, some of which made Xiao Yan feel extremely frightened. Where is the entrance to the second Yaiquan of life and death? The fire beast of life and death glanced at Xiao Yan behind him and said casually. Life and death Yaiquan? Xiao Yan was overjoyed when he saw this. Boy, don't go. Seeing that Xiao Yan was suddenly about to swipe at the light gate of the second instrument of life and death, the fire beast of life and death directly pulled Xiao Yan away with the force of the void. Before you court death, help me survive the calamity before you die. Then I won't stop you. The fire beast of life and death hurriedly stopped and scolded Xiao Yan. The guy in the Yaiquan of life and death is a guy who kills without blinking an eye. Xiao Yan entering it at this time is tantamount to sending him to death. Let's go. Naturally, Xiao Yan also knew how powerful this life and death Yaiquan was, so he didn't dare to stay any longer and started to hurry. There are too many strong people in the second Yaiquan of life and death. I'm afraid that the humans in the swamp area are not enough for them to kill. The fire beast of life and death shook his head, obviously not optimistic about Xiao Yan and the others. What's the meaning of this? Xiao Yan didn't know what the fire beast of life and death meant, so he immediately asked. Vicious old monster, this guy often kills human beings in order to maintain his appearance, trying to keep his appearance young by absorbing the essence of human beings. So you have to be careful. After the fire beast of life and death finished, it suddenly stopped. It's here, he said briefly, and then the pupils of the life and death fire beast stared at a void in front of him. That's it? Xiao Yan was surprised when he heard the words. However, before Xiao Yan finished speaking, a black light flashed from the body of the fire beast of life and death, and then the two disappeared instantly. The next moment, when the two appeared, they suddenly came to an extremely cold place. Oh! Rao was possessed of holy flame protection, and Xiao Yan couldn't help the cold, so he sneezed immediately. What you need is right there. The fire beast of life and death didn't seem to care about Xiao Yan's situation. The duty of the fire beasts of life and death is to bring Xiao Yan to the place where the fire of life and death is stored. As for whether Xiao Yan can determine the fire of life and death, the fire beast of life and death does not care at all. That is, the fire of life and death. Xiao Yan looked in the direction of the fire beast of life and death, but saw an extremely delicate plant slowly standing on the tip of the ice block. Continuing from the previous episode 806. That's the fire of life and death. Xiao Yan is currently staring at the plant not far from him. The plant was black and white, with a black rhizome about the size of a finger, and huge white leaves, and its roots were hidden on the icicles. As for the plant, a fiery red flame slowly surrounds it, which is quite mysterious. That is the fire of life and death. If you want, go get it yourself. The fire beast of life and death immediately felt a little pain when he saw it, forcibly restrained from looking at the fire of life and death, and then said to Xiao Yan. After all, I have guarded the fire of life and death for thousands of years, and now others take it away in front of me, and it is still painful. Remember that the fire of life and death is divided into 7 leaves from the beginning to the highest. Looking at the appearance, it is the fire of life and death of 6 leaves. I am afraid it will be very helpful for Xiao Yi to step into the next stage of growth. But I just don't know what the reincarnation seal on Xiao Yi's body is. Xiao Yan spoke slowly, although his voice was full of joy, he was still worried. Just came to Doudi continent. Although he obtained the complete burning judgment from ancient Emperor Tuo Shi, the mysterious reincarnation mark on Xiao Yi's forehead was always remembered by Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan doesn't know very well about the seal of reincarnation, but if you think about it, it should not be a good thing. And Xiao Yan and Xiao Yi have a good relationship, they are like brothers, so Xiao Yan will definitely not let Xiao Yi happen to any danger. Xiao Yi, step into the next stage? Reincarnation seal? Not long after, The fire beast of life and death beside Xiao Yan heard Xiao Yan muttering so, and immediately became shocked. If nothing else, just printing the 3 characters of reincarnation is tens of thousands of times more precious than the fire of life and death in front of you. How? You know? Xiao Yan seemed to have noticed the shock of the fire beast of life and death, and immediately turned his head to ask. Boy, although I don't know what the reincarnation seal is, I vaguely know that it may have something to do with the powerhouses above the Do Xian level. And from what you just described, you are looking for the fire of life and death. I'm afraid it is also for others. The fire beast of life and death said. Not bad. Faced with the speculation of life and death fire beasts, Xiao Yan didn't have anything to hide, so he directly confirmed it. What you said should be the fire spirit. After a slight pause, the eyes of the fire of life and death were full of envy. Yes, seeing that the fire beasts of life and death were guessing right, Xiao Yan felt a little surprised in his heart. You don't know something. Holy flame is the purest fire attribute power, and this kind of power will often give birth to some creatures with spiritual intelligence. That kind of creature is called the spirit of holy flame. The fire elf is different. Although the fire elf is also a representative of the fire attribute, the fire elf is an independent individual with extremely powerful power. You can also understand that the holy flame is pure flame power, and the holy flame spirit is only a part of the holy flame power after all. But the fire elves are individuals with the power of flames, and it is said that the fire elves are born simple. Only when touched by human beings will they automatically recognize the Lord. And once you are recognized by the fire spirit, your future achievements will be limitless. The life and death fire beast said with some envy. Who is stronger, Sheng Yan or the fire spirit? Xiao Yan asked immediately after hearing this, confused. Holy flame is just a group of dazzling flame power. Even the spirit of holy flame is just power. But the fire elf is a loyal companion creature with powerful flame power, do you understand? The fire beast of life and death looked at Xiao Yan and said. And, the fire elves in the mature period have surpassed the holy flame too much, but the fire elves need too many resources to move from birth to final maturity. Life and death fire beast said. Understood. The holy flame is strong, and after all, someone needs to control it, and the fire spirit can fight the enemy alone. After a while, Xiao Yan also understood what the fire beast said. It's all right, hurry up and collect the fire of life and death, or I will go back on it. The fire beast of life and death said impatiently. Good. Xiao Yan looked at the fire beast of life and death, and immediately burst into laughter, then walked towards the fire medicine. It's really a jealous guy. It's not enough to have holy flames, but also to have fire spirits. This will hit people a lot. The 2 most powerful treasures in the fire attribute have been obtained by this news. This is really unfair. The fire beast of life and death was depressed. The holy flame has always been extremely powerful. Anyone who obtains the holy flame will be extremely terrifying, but in the long run, it is tantamount to the growth of the fire elf. After all, if the fire elves enter the mature stage, they are truly right-hand assistants who can fight against immortal warriors. The fire of life and death. There are 6 leaves in the fire. This thing is not easy to collect. Xiao Yan came to the front of the fire of life and death, and immediately hesitated. Because of the particularity of life and death fire, it must have flame and ice. If there is no one of them, I'm afraid that it will wither in an instant. In that case, it will obviously fall short. Yes, the bone spirit is cold. However, in the next moment, Xiao Yan suddenly remembered something, and then burst out laughing. As Xiao Yan's voice just fell, a scorching fire that radiated extremely cold suddenly appeared. As Emperor Yan, Xiao Yan naturally possessed the ability to separate the flames from the flames of his own emperor. Crackling, Xiao Yan's flame and ice power just touched the fire of life and death, and suddenly the fire of life and death burst out with a very strong repulsion, and then the next moment, it seemed that Xiao Yan's second power was not malicious, and then slowly let your guard down. Come in for me. But just when life and death fire relaxed his vigilance, Xiao Yan suddenly drank it, and 2 strands of ice and flames instantly wrapped life and death fire. The next moment, it appeared directly on Xiao Yan's palm. But here Xiao Yan suddenly remembered what his master Yao Lao said: the root nest must not be damaged when picking herbs, and everything should be left behind. Although this herb has been picked by you, as long as the root is the nest is not bad. and a new medicinal herb will be born in a short time. Immediately, Xiao Yan gently took away the fire of life and death. Hoo-hoo, it's still a near miss. Xiao Yan gasped for a few breaths, then looked at the palm-sized slap on the palm of his hand, possessing 6 leaves of the fire of life and death. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. With this thing, and with the help of some medicinal pills, Xiao Yi should be able to step into the 9 stars Doudi smoothly. After Xiao Yi stepped into the 9-star Do Emperor, the two of us are merging together. I am afraid that our strength will temporarily increase to the level of the 9-star Do Emperor. Then, Xiao Yan said slowly, "Take it." With an idea in his heart, Xiao Yan carefully took the 6-leaf fire of life and death back into his own ring for safekeeping, and then gently came to the side of the fire beast of life and death. Hee, fire beast of life and death, I wonder if you know if there are these 2 medicinal materials in the ruins? Xiao Yan stared at the fire beast and laughed maliciously. What? The fire beast of life and death saw that Xiao Yan had just taken back the fire of life and death, but it did not destroy the root nest of fire of life and death, and had a great impression of Xiao Yan. Kanglong Lu, Heavenly King Ginseng. Xiao Yan finished softly, and immediately looked forward to the answer from the fire beast of life and death. Ask for tickets. Today's 6. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 807. What's the matter? Kanglong Lu, Heavenly King Ginseng? The fire beast of life and death heard the words, and its pupils shrank tightly. It was obvious that Xiao Yan's 2 questions greatly surprised him. What do you think these 2 things are? The life and death fire beast just calmed down, and then said to Xiao Yan. When Xiao Yan heard the words, he naturally knew the preciousness of these 2 things, but he had no choice. Now, he was only 1 step away from resurrecting his ancestor Xiao Zhan. And the most important materials for refining the soul resurrection pill are Gale Treasure Fruit, Kanglong Du, and Heavenly King Ginseng. The Gale Treasure Fruit, Xiao Yan has already obtained it from Qinxin, but the latter 2 medicinal materials are missing. As for the body of the Emperor Do, the 6-star Do Emperor's perfect entourage in the Ming cult is still lying quietly in Shaoyana at this moment. In the ring space, don't think about Kanglong Lu. The things of the dragon family are forbidden in the world, and the dragon family is too powerful, so it's not something we humans can afford. However, the Heavenly King Ginseng seems to exist in Guanggan Island. It seemed that after thinking for a while, the fire beast of life and death spoke. Really? Xiao Yan immediately became happy when he heard this. The last 2 medicinal herbs, no matter which one they are too precious, so being able to find one is enough to surprise Xiao Yan. I won't lie to you, I vaguely remember that there is one in Guanggan Island. The fire beast of life and death did not mean to deceive Xiao Yan. Okay, when this is over, go to Guanggan Island and try to get that thing. Xiao Yan made a plan in his heart. Now, you should be able to help me overcome the calamity. After waiting for a while, he said, "Hey, it's all right." Xiao Yan heard the words and shook his head in embarrassment. Hearing the news of the Heavenly King Ginseng, Xiao Yan forgot all about it. Where are we going to escape the calamity? Xiao Yan asked. Go to that molten world just now. Where can I increase myself, and the success rate will also increase? Life and Death Fire Beast said. Let's go then. Xiao Yan nodded secretly after hearing this. Will your tribulation lead to thunder tribulation? On their way back, Xiao Yan had not seen the 7-star Do Emperor complete the tribulation of the magical beast, so he immediately asked. Although the cultivation of our magical beasts is different from that of your human beings, we all rely on transcending tribulations to improve our strength, but we are a type of magical beasts, which are too strongly suppressed by heaven and earth. You humans are much happier than me. Life and Death Fire Beast laughed. I see. Xiao Yan nodded immediately after hearing this. It's just because those guys on the swamp area who covet the 2 Yaiquan of life and death, the fire beasts of life and death, are not as good as us. Xiao Yan's mouth suddenly showed a hint of sneer, obviously wanting Xiao Yan to take the lead. Xiao Yan, who took advantage of him, did not do it. Ha ha ha, you kid is really yin. But I like it. It's just a bunch of wastes who are greedy for life and fear death, but coveted the baby. The fire beast of life and death heard Xiao Yan's plan, and immediately thought it was okay, and couldn't help laughing. It's here. After a while, the fire beast of life and death said something directly to Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan heard the words and agreed slightly, and then the two returned to the molten world. What should I do? Xiao Yan asked. It's very simple, you just need to gather the power of the holy flame into my body. As for the rest, leave it to me. Seeing this, the fire beast of life and death finally waited for this moment and smiled happily. Okay. Xiao Yan was not a procrastinator either, so he agreed directly. It's ready. The fire beast of life and death reminded Xiao Yan, and then he raised his head to the sky and let out a long roar. Suddenly, in the scorching molten world, huge melts burst out suddenly, and then gathered frantically towards the fire beast of life and death. This guy is really crazy. Seeing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but say that the fire beast of life and death did this, but it was the same as when he devoured the strange fire. The amount of violent violence to reach the critical line of tribulation. Fire. After a while, the fire beast of life and death was covered in fiery red lava, and then roared at Xiao Yan. Huoxin Tianyan, give it to me. Xiao Yan immediately called out the earthy yellow holy flame, and then the earthy yellow holy flame suddenly strung into the body of the living and dead fire beast. Ah! 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 The khaki yellow holy flame had just stepped into the body of the fire beast of life and death, and the fire beast of life and death suddenly roared. Obviously, the power of this huge holy flame made life worse than death. Hold on, or you will lose all your achievements. Xiao Yan seemed to be aware of the troubles of life and death fire beast. And immediately exited. Life and death fire beasts are very courageous, and they want to break through with the power of holy flame, but if they can't survive the ordeal in front of them, I am afraid they will be turned into ashes under holy flame. After all, holy flame is not an ordinary flame. A little bit, it can be wiped out. I know. The fire beast of life and death snorted coldly, obviously underestimating the power of the holy flame, but with the roar in the lava world, a series of changes also occurred in the swamp area. What's the matter? Leng Fuyao should be the first to notice the abnormality. Although Leng Fuyao's strength is not strong, as a pharmacist, I am afraid that the soul power in the entire ruins is enough to rank in the top 10. What's wrong? Yueru asked slightly when she heard the words. The mist in this swamp has disappeared. And above the swamp area, there seem to be thunderclouds condensing, you see. After Leng Fuyao finished speaking, he pointed directly at the top of everyone's heads. Thundercloud? What is this for? Shu Qi was shocked when she saw this. This thundercloud doesn't look like it was produced by refining medicinal pills, but rather like the thunder calamity caused by the breakthrough of some magical beasts. Qinshin said slightly, the thunder calamity caused by the tribulation of monsters? Mu Feng and Mu Yingying were both stunned, obviously not understanding what this meant. Some powerful magical beasts will attract the constraints of heaven and earth when they break through, so there will be thunder tribulations. Only after the thunder calamity will their strength break through. If the tribulation fails, the beast will fall completely. Qinshin explained. What is Xiao Yan doing? How could a thunder calamity be triggered? Several people thought slightly in their hearts, but their eyes were wary of other people. How could there be a thunder tribulation? Seeing this, the five poisons were also puzzled. Could it be that this Xiao Yan facilitated some transaction with the monsters below? Lin Zhu boldly guessed obviously, Xiao Yan, even Lin Zhu, is afraid of him. Let's take one step at a time. After the five poisons finished speaking, they stared at the swamp area, as if a scorching temperature was slowly spreading underneath. Thunder tribulation? Isn't this a sign of the breakthrough of the demon beast? What the asterisk is that Xiao Yan doing? Zhaobi said with a puzzled face. I'm thinking about the guy. Xingtaki guessed something, and opened his mouth slightly, with a smile on the corner of his mouth. Astrology, Hoshitaki has already learned almost, so according to astrology speculation, Xiao Yan should have obtained the fire of life and death below, and the guardian should also be defeated by Xiao Yan. The thunder calamity of the demon beasts? The next moment, Qi Horan's pupils shrank tightly, staring fiercely at the terrifying thunder calamity above his head. A fear emerged from his heart. What the asterisk is Xiao Yan doing? How can there be such a scorching temperature under the swampy area, and what's going on with this monster's thunder robbery? Du Cheng wondered. This thunder calamity is clearly the thunder calamity of demon beasts, but if Xiao Yan is a demon beast, then no one will believe it, but if so, I am afraid there is only one way of saying it. This thunder calamity was caused by the guardian below. Could it be that Xiao Yan was swallowed by the guardian? Chi Haoking was slightly surprised. Beg. Ticket. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 808. I don't think so. Although the strength of the demon beasts below is extremely terrifying, it is obvious that they don't have the strength to devour Xiao Yan to reach the level of transcending tribulation. Although Xiao Yan's strength is only a complete 6-star Doudi, I'm afraid I don't have the certainty of winning when he really fights, so even if he can't beat the Guardian, it shouldn't be a problem to escape. The more dazzling, the dangerous fluctuations were slowly born. Song Yu immediately spoke. Song Yu, you don't have the ambition to destroy your own prestige. Xiao Yan is not as strong as you said. In my opinion, Xiao Yan is just a kid who knows how to use conspiracy and tricks. Listening to Song Yu's words, plus the fact that Xiao Yan was pitted at the entrance of the Iron Gate ruins, the resentment of the second brothers of the Qi family towards Xiao Yan can be described as is getting deeper and deeper. Believe it or not, Song Yu was naturally too lazy to talk nonsense with this guy, and immediately stared at the increasingly dense thunder tribulation in the sky. The terrifying level of this thunder calamity may have exceeded the situation that their 7-star Doudi could handle. If this thunder calamity exploded directly on the swamp, then even if this life and death Ariaquan was precious, it would only be able to escape far away. After all, their lives are gone, and their things are just empty words. What the asterisk is going on here? Chi Horan became impatient with waiting, and immediately shouted. Following Chi Horan's impatience, Feng Hong and Song Yu simply ignored it. No, you have to go down and have a look. What the asterisk is this Xiao Yan doing? After a few breaths, Chi Horan's pupils suddenly flashed a hint of determination, and without hesitation, he pulled Chi Haoking and wanted to whiz away towards the swamp. If the two of you believe me, then leave them alone. I always feel that there are many dangers in this swampy area. If you go down now, I'm afraid it will be no different from dying. Just as Feng Hong and Du Chun were preparing to act, Song Yu speaking directly, it was obvious that Song Yu also noticed something. What about the second Yaikuan of life and death? Feng Hong seemed to be quite enthusiastic about the second Yaikuan of life and death, and said immediately. Don't worry, no one will be able to enter that thing for a while. Song Yu said directly, obviously based on the strength of Lei Jia. It seemed that Song Yu had already guessed something. Lei Jia seems to have gone under the swamp. The next moment, Han Qin, the petite person beside Song Yu, spoke directly, with a little surprise in his voice. This. Song Yu frowned upon hearing this. If the thunder robbery appears on the swamp, then there is no doubt that the robberies will also appear, and the robbers are most likely guardians, so that they can give a fatal blow to the guardians when they cross the calamity, thereby entering the scene. In the two springs of life and death. But if Lei Jia went under the swamp, it would undoubtedly mean that this guy already knew what they were thinking, and it would be troublesome. Someone has entered the swamp area. The second brother Chi Horan, who had entered the swamp area, was instantly discovered by other powerhouses who were watching here, and immediately said. The second brother of the Qi family? A person from the Xuanling royal family? Why are they entering the dangerous swamp area at this time? Did they find something? Seeing this, Xingtaki nodded slightly, obviously thinking about something. Miss, what's the matter? Zhaobi rarely saw her master so solemn, and immediately asked. According to the predictions of astrology, it seems that the Xuanling royal family took the lead in that catastrophe, and the two brothers of the Qi family seem to have something to do with the source of the disaster. Xingtaki spoke intermittently. Catastrophe? The source of the calamity? Zhaobi heard that, although she had doubts, she seemed to know something, but she didn't ask much, but Zhaobi believed in the predictions of astrology. Astrology has always been mysterious. His master, Hoshitaki, has a much stronger grasp of astrology than himself. If even Hoshitaki said so, I am afraid that things are very likely to be true. What shall we do now? Follow? Zhaobi said. No, according to my guess, this thunder calamity should be caused by the guardian below. Although I don't know what Xiao Yan's current situation is, Xiao Yan is definitely fine. This guardian is also smart. He knows that there are so many strong people here. If they break through on the swamp area, they will probably lead to encirclement and suppression, but under the swamp area, many strong people are afraid of the unknown below and dare not go down. Furthermore, there is an extremely hot wave below. If the second Qi brothers go down so rashly, I'm afraid the consequences will not be good. Shintaki said. Yes. Zhaobi nodded immediately after hearing the words. After all, the two of them are not very strong. If they go so rashly, I'm afraid it will not end well. Someone went down. It seems that the second brothers of the Qi family have just been pitted by Xiao Yan, and now they are afraid that the two Yaiquan of life and death will be taken by Xiao Jia first, so they can't wait. Wudu said, these two guys have bad intentions. I'm afraid they have long been resentful towards Xiao Yan. If this goes on, a fierce battle cannot be avoided. Lin Zhu said, I'm curious how this guy Xiao Yan has been living peacefully with the guardian below for so long. And I vaguely feel that this thunder tribulation seems to be inseparable from Xiao Yan. Wu Po said, these two guys can't eat hot tofu in a hurry. Lin Zhu slowly shook his head. There's a good show to watch. As if he noticed something, Wu Po suddenly laughed. With such a commotion, countless people's eyes were fixed on the swamp area. At this time, Lei Jia had disappeared into the swamp area and disappeared, and the swamp area had returned to calm. Although other strong people were impatient www.novelmtllinked.com, but we can only wait, and the second Qi family brothers also entered the swamp area directly. As for Xiao Yan, he has been in for a while. You actually introduced the thunder calamity into this molten world? Xiao Yan looked at the terrifying thunder calamity approaching, and immediately felt a chill behind his back. Just because of the fear level of this thunder calamity, I am afraid that he can barely accept it with all his strength now. Next, the thunder tribulation of Warcraft transcending tribulation is so terrifying. Don't be afraid. If you break through on the swamp, I'm afraid it will attract your strong human beings to block, so I have to do it. Fortunately, this lava world is still isolated from the swampy area, so there is an extra layer of protection. Life and death fire beasts are not afraid of Xiao Yan's ridicule. After all, the two are now in a cooperative relationship. That's fine, you can break through quickly. After some inquiries, Xiao Yan spoke directly. Someone is here, but as Xiao Yan's voice fell, the eyes of the fire beast of life and death that were still smiling suddenly became heavy, and then their eyes were cast towards a space not far away. Ha ha ha! Xiao Yan, I didn't expect you to be in trouble with the Guardian. What else do you have to say now? A manic laugh appeared at the end of the molten world with enormous power. The second brother of the Qi family of the Xuanling royal family. A 7-star fighting emperor in the early stage, and a 7-star fighting emperor in the middle stage, he really looks down on me. Xiao Yan stared at the two of them, and after speaking, a shocking fighting spirit emerged. Ask for tickets. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 809. Xiao Yan, I didn't expect you to be in trouble with this guardian. Qi Horan stood on the edge of the lava and said hatefully to Xiao Yan. But at this time, Qi Horan could obviously find the dazzling thunder tribulation in front of him, accompanied by the terrifying molten world below. Originally, the two brothers had learned the power of the guardian, but they were forced into the swamp by the guardian, and they didn't know that there was a cave under the swamp. Since you already know it, why do you need to talk about it? Facing the Qi family's second brothers, Qi Haoqing, who was in the early stage of the 7-star Dou Emperor, and Qi Horan, who was in the middle stage of the 7-star Dou Emperor, Xiao Yan was a little apprehensive, but he was far from letting go. Xiao Yan felt withdrawn. 5 minutes. The fire beast of life and death seemed to know that something was wrong, and immediately said solemnly, Don't worry, since I have taken advantage of you, I will naturally help people to the end. Xiao Yan laughed with ease. Thank you very much for that. The fire beast of life and death did not hesitate to hear the words, and continued to devour the power in the molten world. With the power of Xiao Yan's holy flame, there was a faint trace of thunder and lightning. The appearance of robbery. I didn't expect it to be a fire beast of life and death. Fire of life and death is a good thing. Qi Horan stared at the fire beast of life and death, but a strange smile appeared. Xiao Yan, let's count the new hatred and the old hatred together. Go! This guardian is going through a calamity, and his strength is greatly reduced. At the next moment, Qi Horan said abruptly, I leave the guardian to you. As for Xiao Yan, leave it to me. Qi Horan said to his brother Qi Haoqing. Although his brother was also the strength of the 7-star Doudi in the early stage, Qi Horan always felt that Xiao Yan was not so simple, so he immediately gave up. Let's go together, or if you lose, Don't say that I didn't give you two a chance. Xiao Yan sneered directly at the second brother of the Qi family. If it were in other places, Xiao Yan would definitely not be so arrogant, but this is the molten world after all. Xiao Yan himself is a fire attribute, and the addition of the sacred flame of the different fire and the molten world can be said to be a huge increase to himself, so in it is not impossible to deal with two 7-star fighting emperors here. Ha ha ha, Xiao Yan, I think your brain is broken, right? With your mere 6-star Do Emperor's perfect strength, you are trying to challenge our two 7-star Do Emperors? Qi Haoqing immediately laughed contemptuously when he heard the words. Obviously, Xiao Yan was scared by the powerful strength of the two of them. However, although Qi Horan said that he was narrow-minded, he was extremely cautious. Following Xiao Yan's words, he immediately became vigilant. This guy is of the fire attribute. In the molten world here, the power of the two of us can be suppressed a little, but it is a very tyrannical increase for Xiao Yan. Qi Horan said slowly in his heart. So much nonsense? Xiao Yan said impatiently, and then his figure moved instantly. Go! It's not good for us to fight for a long time here, we must defeat Xiao Yan as quickly as possible. Qi Horan said, and then without hesitation, he directly whistled away at Xiao Yan with all his strength. The fire is coming. Facing the two 7-star fighting emperors, Xiao Yan was not afraid and said a word directly. Following Xiao Yan's opening, several huge pillars of flame suddenly appeared in the hot molten world, and then rushed towards Xiao Yan frantically. Great heavens, fortune palm! Seeing the flames in the molten world come to him, Xiao Yan suddenly shouted. Boom boom boom! As soon as Xiao Yan's voice fell, a dazzling fiery red energy palm print appeared, frantically attacking the two of them. It's just a little trick to eagle worms. Seeing this, Qi Horan snorted contemptuously, and then suddenly waved his palm, and a sharp invisible wind immediately dissipated Xiao Yan's seemingly powerful attack. Eat me, mysterious spirit hand! Qi Horan had just cracked Xiao Yan's offensive when Qi Haoqing suddenly appeared beside him, and from this came the dark red terrifying energy in the palm of his hand. Bang bang bang! Without any delay, he suddenly attacked Xiao Yan, who was close at hand. Immortal body. Faced with such a powerful attack from Qi Haoqing, Xiao Yan naturally did not think that he could stop him at will, and immediately summoned the body of Doudi. The body of the Do Emperor just appeared, and immediately blocked Qi Haoqing's attack. The body of a fighting emperor? Although this kind of thing is tyrannical, it has been eliminated for too many years, and you must be the only ones who still use it. Seeing this, Qi Horan couldn't help but smile. Although the body of Doudi is very good, it integrates attack and defense in one. But because it is too complicated and requires too much energy and resources, now almost the entire Xuanxin Santian, only Fenxiang Pavilion is still insisting on using it. That's not necessarily true. A faint smile appeared on the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth, and then the golden immortal body covering his body suddenly burst into the molten world with a smiling figure. This guy can't be crazy. Rao used Qi Haoqing's eyesight to see Xiao Yan rushing towards such a dangerous molten world. Can't support it for long. 7th layer breaking the sky ruler. The first weight. 2nd level. After a while, Xiao Yan suddenly gushed out of the molten world, and then the ancient ruler of eternal fire did not appear in his hands at this time, but the junior high school wrapped his golden immortal body. Superior. Boom boom boom. The next moment, the golden immortal body suddenly became restless under Xiao Yan's control, and then the illusory hands that tightly held the ancient ruler of the different fires suddenly faced the second brother Qi Horan whistling away. This guy actually used the power of the molten slurry here. Qi Horan's pupils flickered with surprise. Obviously, with the help of the power in the molten world, I am afraid that the two of them are 7-star Do Emperor powerhouses, and they can't stand it. Shabu shabu. After a short while, two bright flames fell delicately in front of the second brothers of the Qi family. The two brothers only felt a heat in their hearts. It seemed that the destructive fluctuations above the giant flame were extremely terrifying. Mysterious spirit hand. Mysterious spirit palm. The two brothers hesitated, but after all, they were 7-star Do-Di powerhouses. They were twitching the energy of life in their bodies in a short period of time, and suddenly slapped Xiao Yan's giant flaming ruler. 7-star duty powerhouse is really difficult to deal with. Xiao Yan stood quietly in the molten world, his figure impressively protected the fire beasts of life and death behind him. As for the immortal body, it was attached to his own body, and the ancient ruler of the eternal fire is on the immortal body. Boy, today, you must die. How, King? Go ahead and hunt down Xiao Yan. It seemed that after the warm-up phase, Qi Horan's pupils flashed a strange blood color, and then said to his brother. Okay. With Qi Haoqing's hairstyle, the pupils of the two suddenly became strange. This is the 5th grade of blood curse? Although the second brothers of the Qi family did a great job of covering up, the fleeting blood color was still captured by Xiao Yan. End of this chapter.